Hi, my name is Monica. Welcome to part 2 of my testimony. Today's topic, I will be discussing sexual abuse. And before I get started with my testimony, I thought it might be good to go over some statistics that I've recently read so that you can be informed also in case you don't know these statistics. And what I found on the internet was that 1 out of 3 girls are sexually assaulted. 1 out of 4 boys have been sexually assaulted. 85% of sexual abuse victims never report their abuse. More than 90% of abusers are people children know, love, and trust. An important fact is the way victims' families respond to abuse plays an important role in how the incident affects the victim. The reason why I'm reading these statistics to you and sharing this information with you is because I am a victim of sexual abuse. If you haven't had the opportunity yet to listen to part 1 of my testimony, it would probably be good that you go back and hear that. And it'll better explain how I was in the position that I was. When I was 15, unfortunately, I was once again in a situation where I would be sexually abused again. So I'm going to backtrack a little bit in case you haven't heard part 1. And I just want to share with you a little bit of my background. When I was 11, my parents divorced, and pretty immediately, my mother remarried. She was having an affair, I would later find out, and she was pregnant by this man. And I would say in a very short few months of this man living in our home, he sexually assaulted me. Again, I was 11 years old. My parents were recently divorced, and I knew I had to go to my mom and tell her what happened because I was not going to let that happen again. And I shared this with her, and nothing really happened. I mean, he never assaulted me again. But again, go back to part 1 so you can hear exactly what I had to deal with and how I lived my life where I felt very unsafe in my home. At the age of 15, I was babysitting for some family friends, which happened to be pastors. And I loved babysitting, so I spent a lot of time with them. The pastors had 2 young children, and I was in their home quite often, babysitting the kids and spending a lot of my life there. It was nice to get out of my house, of course, with the stepdad and be around other people. And I remember at one point getting pretty close with this family and the pastor's wife coming to me and saying, "Hey, Monica, we're building a new home. Would you like to live with us? You could pick out any theme you want in your bedroom." And I thought, at 15, like, that's kind of weird. And I said, "No, but thank you." And it wasn't too long after that that my mom told me we were going to have a meeting